What is going on, Isles fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to go through two surprising players listed as options for the New York Islanders to sign on PTO. So PTO, in case you don't know, is a professional tryout, and the inspiration from this article, or this inspiration from the video rather, comes from an article by Russ Machias of NY Hockey Now. He lists two guys who could be potential PTO targets for the Islanders. They've had guys come in on PTOs in the past, and I think it's something for them to utilize during training camp to just see if maybe this person is a fit for them. And for the Islanders, this might be a little bit tougher because their roster is, number one, pretty full, and number two, they're over the cap, so they actually have to shed some money. Not that someone on a PTO is counting against the cap, but if they were to bring a guy in and then they wanted to keep him, there would have to be at least one, probably two corresponding moves. All right, the first guy is Calen Addison, who is a 24-year-old defenseman. He was the 53rd overall pick by the Pittsburgh Penguins back in 2018, so 6 years ago, the same draft as Noah Dobson and Oliver Wahlstrom. And last year, he played in 72 games between Minnesota and San Jose. San Jose ended up not giving him a qualifying offer. He had 17 points last year and averaged 7 minutes and 16 seconds per night. He's a right-handed shot defenseman, good puck carrier, but just a little bit slow in the developmental part of things. Kind of reminds me in a way of a right-handed Samuel Bolduc, someone who has pretty good skating ability and has some traits that, again, make you like, hey, maybe I'll buy into this guy, but just hasn't been able to figure it out defensively, at least at the NHL level. This is one I'm more interested in of the two because the Islanders' right-handed depth in the system isn't great, and maybe he could be like a seventh defenseman if he ends up beating out Samuel Bolduc for that spot. The second guy mentioned in this article is an NHL veteran, James Van Riemsdyk, a 35-year-old, has been around the league in Philly and Toronto, most recently in Boston. He played in 71 games last year, had 11 goals, 27 assists for 38 points, which honestly isn't a terrible year, and like a nearly 40-point player in a bottom six or third line role is pretty good. Like, I'm not going to argue with that. The issue, though, that I have here is that Anders Lee is a very similar player. Now, granted, Anders Lee makes $7 million, and James Van Riemsdyk is likely going to get less than $1 million on a deal. There's a big difference there, but for Anders Lee, net from presence guy, 20 goal scorer last year, usually up in the high 20s in goals scored on the year. JVR at this point in his career, the last time he scored 20 goals was in 21-22. He had 24 for Philly. And then you got to go back to 2017-18, the last time he had 30 goals. Again, not saying he's a bad player. He's not. He has a, 8, 9, 15-year NHL career. Not a math guy, I never claimed to be, but 15-year NHL career. And as I said, has been a good player and a good goal scorer and a good net front guy, leader. But I think the Islanders are going to utilize Anders Lee in whatever role that James Van Riemsdyk would offer this team. So that one just feels a little repetitive or redundant to something that the Islanders already have. So I'm going to pass on James Van Riemsdyk. I don't know how likely a Calen Addison one would be, but I think, as I mentioned, I'm a little bit more intrigued by bringing in Addison as a on a PTO. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Are you in on either of these guys on a PTO? Sound off. Let me know. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.
If you like that, make sure to subscribe to Up the Turnpike on Patreon for more exclusive New York Islanders content.